The lead visionary for the Lagos for Lagos movement, Mr. Olajide Adejiran, popularly known as Jandor, has formally declared his interest to contest the Lagos State governorship election on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in 2023. Adejiran, who defected from the All Progressives Congress to join the PDP, made the declaration last week during an event attended by party members and supporters in Ikeja, GRA. He said his movement is joining forces with the PDP to wrestle power from the ruling APC in Lagos State. Joining us now to discuss why he wants to be the next governor of Lagos State is Abdulaziz Olajide Adediran, Jandor. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Tudu.
Well, since the last time you were on this program, you have since had a formal declaration event. Your critics are saying that you are carrying on as if you already have the ticket. You know, but the question I would like to ask you is, what's your strategy to use the PDP platform to actualize your dreams? Because again, you know, there are entrenched forces in the PDP. There is Wale Gomez, who has been running a campaign for the past 2 years. There's this woman, I don't immediately remember her name, but there are others who are also hoping that, look, they've been in the party, they've invested a lot, and they see you as the outsider who wants to grab the ticket away from them. But what's your strategy, really?
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Batsi. First, I think you can only get that from those that are also aspiring to contest, to run for that office, which in the first place is everybody's constitutional right to aspire. But for party faithfuls who've been longing to win an election, who know that every election year, PDP has always been doing between 30 to 35%, you know, to win. They understand the need for them to have the additional 20-25% from the ruling party so as to cross the threshold of winning the Lagos, which we represent by creating that necessary implosion in APC. If you looked at what happened January 21st this year. But for those who are also interested in running for office, because it's a game now, so you can't but have such narratives from them. And for us, the most important thing is to win for the party. And I've said it over and over again. Take, for instance, the two brothers of mine that were in the race, as we speak, Dr. Adedosumu and Deji Duarte, who was the past chairman of the party. In 2019, I went to Dr. Adedosumu. As a matter of fact, he admitted me into Eco Club as the president of Eco Club then. And I said to him about my aspiration to run. Then we were still in the APC. And he encouraged me. He said, look, you can even come to the PDP. We can get this done in PDP. As a matter of fact, as president of Eco Club then, he asked me that I must do something in the club. I mean, so that people would know that, okay, and all that. So while he was rounding up his office as president of Eco Club, I did the greetings hall. He asked me to do the greetings hall, to refurbish it so that, and I was celebrated. He never said to me that he would be running. So when I got into PDP, I called him, Egmo, you know, I've arrived. And we spoke, welcome. But he never said he was going to be running. And at 11th hour, he came up to say he wants to run, which is okay. First and foremost, it's constitutional right. And I'm going on about saying, don't allow him to come and pick our ticket. We've been here and all of that. Which is fine. Somebody must have a strategy to play out the other person. And the second Egmo of mine, Deji Duarte, up until even last month, we're still talking about my aspiration. I was telling him this, and now he says he wants to run as well, which is also okay. And for us, the most important thing is, how do we win for the party? And we're saying we represent what you call breath of fresh air in Lagos politics, especially in PDP. So we're talking to the delegates, those who've got the votes. We're engaging them. They're the foot soldiers of the party. They've been in opposition for a while. They know that us combining forces with the existing structure will make us win. And why are we doing this? Because for for over the years. We sat down in Lagos. I've spoken about this conspiracy of silence in Lagos. Everybody sees something they don't want to talk. Let me take you through the last 2 fiscal years in the state of Lagos. You understand what we're talking about. In 2020, Governor Sanwo-Olu came, and that will be his first full year budget. He came with a budget of about 920 billion. That was after it was slashed, by 21% from 1.169 trillion because of the pandemic. And this budget in question was the same year we had increase in our revenue generation of IGR of about 418 billion compared to 2019 of 398 billion. So we had more money. That same year, that same pandemic year, was the year we increased our borrowing from 877.33 billion to 1.04 trillion, which means we also borrowed more money and had more money. So at the end of that year, Lagos state government is not ranked among the 5 state governments that invested more on capital expenditure in that year. So where did the money go to? Come to 2021, the same thing. This guy came with a budget of 1.16 trillion, for 2021 budget. And when he was presenting that budget, he said this budget will focus on completion of ongoing projects and talking about investment in increased human development program for health and education sector. If you understand that, those are perishables, okay? Completion of ongoing projects. What are the projects? And that is what we had. But in November last year, when the government was presenting the 2022 budget, it spoke about that budget, has done about 80% performance, hoping that by the end of the year, it would have done 90% performance. At the end of the day, with all this budget performance, you see nothing to show for it on the street of Lagos in that one. In 2022 budget, the guy also came up with 1.138 trillion budget, which was later increased to 1.754 trillion by the House of Assembly. And this budget, again, is focusing on completion of ongoing projects and, expansion of social intervention and supporting Lagosians on SMEs. If you look at all of this again, they are perishable. It's not pointing at something. And this is what we're talking about. And this assembly that also increased that budget to 1.754 trillion are saying that the surplus, they brought it from the previous fiscal year and put it in, they call it contingency fund for the 2020. And you start asking yourself, it appears we don't even understand this whole thing anymore. Contingency for what? And nobody is saying anything. That's why I spoke about the conspiracy of silence. This is something that we have come to change in the state of Lagos. So we hear every time that Lagos is a wealthy state, but we cannot see that wealth on the street of Lagos. That is what we are coming to bet. That's what the PDP government coming in 2023 is going to bet. To see.
So the wealth is the attraction for you?
Yes, for the people of Lagos. It should be a wealthy state in truth. So that when you get to Lagos, you see that wealth. Take, for instance, in education. And this is what we are doing differently. If government has not been paying a lip service to free primary and basic education, I don't think the governor will run to 2 children, carry something on their head during school hours. But you can make this, and this is what we are going to do. We make it free and compulsory. How? Is that first, if you're giving that free education, you must provide uniforms, you must provide schools and standards for them to go. So with that, no parent has no excuse not to send anybody to school in the name of, this uniform is torn, I need to buy another one or something else. And this uniform we're speaking about will be sewn by local tailors in that locality. Take, for instance, if you have in Agege local government, 20 or 30 schools and about 3,000 or 4,000 children, the tailoring association in Agege will come together and we'll give them that direct contract to sew that uniform to children. So by so doing, we'll be migrating that sector from informal to formal because it will allow us to see how we can tax them and create direct jobs for people. So everybody knows in that locality that, time is ending. As a tailor, I'm going to earn. As a parent, government is taking off. And if you ask me where this money coming from, look, Oyo State government, increase their IGR with over 26% without burden on the people of the state. That's Oyo State. You can imagine what we can do in Lagos if we pluck loopholes, if you you know, those things that goes into private pockets and bring it back into the treasury of the state. So the money is there, and we can do that in all sectors of the economy. I've spoken about health institution. Today, when you get to general hospital, you see people littering everywhere in the name of no hospital beds. And I'm saying that it shouldn't be a rocket science for states to see how we can automate all health institutions in the states. At first, to say first, you cannot transfer a patient from your hospital to the general hospital, except, and of course, you know there is a best space in that hospital. On the system, you can pick that like you're picking seats on the airplane to be sure whether there is a space. Or what we have now, that what they have is a special bed in public hospital. It costs a huge amount of money. If you can pay, they will give you another. So these are the things that we're changing.
Okay, Jandor.
Right. PDP had an incredibly popular candidate in the person of Jimmy Agbaje, who contested repeatedly, and on election day couldn't quite clinch it. So we see from that the issue is not the candidate that was fielded by PDP. The issue seems to be the structure of PDP. How do you plan to rectify that lapse? I
just said to you, see, the structure that has been doing 30 to 35%, you know, it shows that over the years, for the past 23 years, that is their capacity. Okay? And what we're trying to do is the one that's been doing 60-something or 50-something, winning them, is where we're coming from, imploding that place. So their own deficit now we're bringing in to join the PDP. And that spelled doom for APC in 2023. They already know that. That's why they're doing everything to prevent us being on the ballot, by making sure, bringing out people at 11th hour who never prepared to govern, who never planned to run for office. Yes, they've been there, they've been in the party for so long, but they never planned or prepared to say, okay, I'll be running in 2023. They just came at 11th hour.
So they've been PDP has been infiltrated by APC, is that what you're saying?
Well, it's in the game. It's in the game. But I say to you that with this that we're doing now, because we were coming from the other side, we know all of this, but we're prepared for them. So the most important thing is for PDP to win. I'm even saying to anybody, even if they get the tickets, we are going to support them to win for the party. We know the importance of our party to be in government because, hey, the most important thing or the reason upon which a political party is established is to win an election and form a government. And after forming government, see to the welfare of the people. That is what is lacking in Lagos. And we need somebody who understands the nitty-gritty of this trade to occupy that office with emotional intelligence.
Okay. Jandor, if you don't get the PDP ticket, would you decamp? That's one. Two, you said you provide free education. I am a granular person. How much will it cost to provide free education in 1 year in Lagos? And what's going to be the unit cost by the head of students? Do you have those stats? Okay,
so yes, of course. First, let me answer your first question of whether or not I'm going to decamp. This is my home.
PDP is your home?
Yes.
But APC was your home a couple of months ago.
And we're here to win election. Let me say this to you. You know what happened when we're in APC. And if you look at our strategy from day one, even if you get the 90% of the structure in APC, you know we can never use it to do anything. Like I said, I've said it over and over again. I can as well be governor the same way these other guys have been governor. But I chose this route because I want to be an independent governor. So in APC, you can't be. Let's take that out. And we're still expecting them to bring forward another puppet for 2023, but we're waiting for them. But now in PDP, it is home. And let me say this to you. PDP is a democratic party, and that's why I'm in love with that party. Yes, we're coming into PDP with no structure, but we're playing the game, talking to people. They are reasoning with us. Like, look, amongst all the candidates, all the aspirants at the house, which one of them can truly win election for us? They do know. Okay, and they're looking at it and all that. It's not like when we are coming from one person blow whistles and you go this way. We draw the whistle, everybody come back. You know, that's about that. Now, talking about this particular one we're talking about, of course, we're
education. What's the cost? What's the cost for a year and the unit?
I'll give you. We're working on our blueprints, and at that point, I look at them and I said, okay, this is what I want to achieve. You know, at that sector of the economy, especially for basic, secondary and primary school. And we put it at about 9 billion naira to do this.
9 billion naira
yes,
yearly?
9 billion naira. No, per term.
Okay. Per
term, yes, to do this. Of three months.
3 months.
You understand?
Okay.
So in a state that generates over 45 billion naira, in fact, I can even say to you that 9 billion naira will not even come from this declared hygiene that we speak about. What we need to do is to just pick one or two agencies, you know, that were the existing legally, but morally wrong, taking some of our money in whatever name to say, you know what, we've had enough, and we plow that back. It can easily take care of that, without sweating anything. Okay, so that's how far we've worked and done our assignment. Yeah.
I mean, we'd like to see more granular details. I mean, if health is taking, if education is taking 9 billion every 3 months, and you've got like four 3 months in a year, so that's 9 times 4. That's about.
That's 20-something.
Yeah, if my maths.
It's still even up to half of a month.
And health, too, is another sector. So we'd like to get the granular details of all of this.
It's okay, it's fine.
Jandor, before you go, you mentioned Dr. Adedosu.
Yes, please.
You also mentioned Dohati, persons you have spoken to. Did you also talk to JK? It's okay, Mr. Jimmy Agbaje?
Yes, of course.
Has been the major flag bearer. Do you have his support?
Of course.
And is the PDP likely to consider a consensus candidate for Lagos? Well, and you are the only person so far who has brought out 21 million to buy form. Where is that money coming from? The others, they say they are interested, yes, but they've not been able to mobilize 21 million. You have already taken the form. You must have quite a war chest.
It's not even about war chest. That is what we're talking about, planning and expressing readiness for a project of this nature. If you want to run for an office, of course, there will be something called expression of interest and nomination form anyway for you to pick. And I mean, if you truly want to run and preparing for that, that's something that you should have prepared for. That being said, the issue of going to JK, of course, JK, we've been together since 2007. I was part of his campaign when he ran under DPA in 2007. That's for JK. And yes, I've been to him, shared notes, and he wants his Lagos to return to Lagos. So we have his support on this one. Just like I went through every other person when I got into PDP. And the first thing I said to them, that look, we came into PDP with ambition, but we are ready to subject our ambition to a fair contest, and all of that. And they all welcome us. And then we're talking together. Now, so far, it appears that I'm the only one running in PDP, but I'm not the only one running. There are others who have expressed interest. They can still get their form. We still have today, tomorrow, until Friday for them to get their own form. Maybe it's also a strategy for them to delay getting the form or something else. I know for everybody who wants to run, do know that there will be an expression of interest and nomination form to purchase. And if you plan for it, I don't think you should be caught unaware by the time the authority is releasing such guidelines. So for us, we've been on this for the past 7 years. I've been here so many times discussing, even while we're in APC, slugging it out there. And just for you to know that we're not just daydreaming. We know what we want to do. We're going for this. We need to take Lagos back. And this is what it's all about.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning.